Welcome! You are listening to Rhea Talk for Real People, the official podcast of the Marrying Kind Inc., where we're always keeping it real regarding love, families, and relationships with a biblical perspective. And here's your host, Maria.
Hello, hello, hello.
So this is a special episode because we actually have a guest commenting on one of our podcasts. We have Amber Jordan here, and she's an avid listener with a unique perspective on relationships. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
How was your flight?
It was a little bumpy, but overall good.
Okay.
And I would like to say, welcome, Amber. Amber from the ATL.
Yes, we're glad that you can join us. And we have a good topic to discuss today. And we're talking about a good man. And we're talking about what makes a good man, why is it hard to find a good man, and how our parents have influenced our ideas about a good man. So I'm going to go ahead and kick it off to Maria. Go ahead and get this party started.
Okay. I thought that we would start with Amber, to ask Amber a question, maybe you too. I would like to hear both of your perspectives on what you think a good man is, and then I'm going to give my opinion of what I think a good man is.
Okay, Amber, since you're the guest, go ahead. What do you think is a good man, and what makes a good man?
In my opinion, a good man, at least for me, would be someone that is able to provide, someone with some type of spiritual background aligning with mine, and someone that I can connect with on different levels so that we're able to have things in common, to be able to grow, and build together to be able to have some potential future. There's many different things I think that could qualify him as a good man, but just, I guess, ones that would match up and kind of cater to things that I'm looking for and that would help to, blend our lives together to be able to add on my end and his end.
I think mine is also very much like Amber's. I would like someone who can compliment me. So what are my weaknesses? You're there to fill in and strengthen. I'd also like someone, again, like you said, who is a provider. But on top of being a provider, that means more than just providing money. It means a lot of different things, being a team player in the family dynamic. So you bringing in money, if that's all you bring to the table, that is not enough for me. Also, I'm looking for someone who has a plan, who has a vision for the family. You know, it's not enough just to exist within the family unit. You have plans and goals for your family. And I also think I am looking for someone who is a team player, not someone to come in and run my household or be the head of the household, but I'm looking for a team player. We're in this together. We're in this for the long run. This is our plan for our family. So I'm looking for someone that can fit all of those different things, and not just, for me now, I'm not looking for someone who is a head of household. I'm looking for someone who can help co-lead with me. Yep. And is also, like I said, a team player, and also has a vision for the family. I think there's a lot of times that people, men sometimes just exist within the family unit and think that my presence here is just good enough. And I don't think that is enough.
Or their presence is good enough, and with that paycheck.
That's what I said. That's what I said, too. If you think as a provider, Amber had said, I'm looking for someone to be a provider, and you think providing a paycheck is enough in this household, you would be incorrect. Provider, that's an umbrella for a lot of different things.
Right, that's an umbrella for for a lot of things. And your paycheck is much appreciated as a contribution, because what is one of the great mantras Maria used? Romance without finance is a nuisance. So you got to bring the money. Now, my idea of a good man, I always start off, is a man that loves God and put God first in his life. One thing I know for sure, I know, when you love God, that tells me that you want to please God. You know, I always tell people, when you are dating or you fall in love, you always want to please the beloved, the person that you're interested in. And that's how it is when you fall in love with God and when you fall in love with Jesus. And I'm not trying to preach. I'm just telling you what a good man is. A good man is a man starting with God being the head of his life. And then going on to, when you're a good man, automatically the Bible says, I know people hear me say this almost in every podcast that I do. God said, by this, men would know that you are my disciple because you love one another. A good man not only loves his family, he loves everybody. And at every opportunity, when he has an opportunity, he wants to help somebody. That's a good man. That you're able, like they said, what's that? It begins at home and spreads abroad. It's about giving. Who can help me out? Charity, got it. Charity begins at home, and that is true, and spreads abroad. When a man is good, that means he's loving, he's giving in his marriage towards his wife. And then when they have their children, he's giving and loving towards the children. He's giving and loving in his community. When things happen in the community, we can't save the world, but we can help somebody. We can be concerned. We can send up a prayer. Now, in my opinion, that is a good man.
So it's like a ripple effect.
It's a ripple effect. That's a good man.
So that brings me to my next point. Why do you think it's so hard to find a man? I'm going to bounce it over to Amber and see what she thinks.
In my opinion, I feel like it's kind of hard to find a good man because a lot of men and women in this day of time could be lost or confused. It's like Maria said, once a man finds God and knows how to love God and love himself, then he can then know how to love someone else and know how to properly treat you and all that, because he will be doing it in God's image. And so a lot of people don't have direction or don't have anything that they believe in or stand for anymore. So if they don't know what to do themselves, they can't give that to someone else in return.
Yeah, I like that. Amber, what you're saying. And it's because people, I remember back in the day, there was a lot of things not so well. And when this new world that we're living in, this brave new world we're in now, a lot of good things are coming out of people being more honest and truthful in certain ways. But in some ways, they've lost God, their vision of God. I remember we used to have tent meetings. Our parents used to teach us to pray. Our parents used to teach us, everybody, the boys and the girls, to pray. They used to take us to church. Now parents would go to church and leave the children at home. There was a no, that didn't happen in my house. Everybody had to go to church. But that's not it, because people are trying to be so politically correct. I don't want to do anything to damage my children. I want to tell people, if you don't have a child, I want to let you know this. You will damage your child. You will do something, because your child going to tell you when you grow up, I told my mama, my children told me, and your children going to tell you something that you did that they didn't like, that they thought you should have done better when they were growing up. Mm-hmm. That's just the way it is, and that's just the way it goes, and that's okay, because we do damage our children. But the intent is the intentions are right. We want to do right, but we love to say, there's no handbook on parenting. So they say, even if there was a handbook on it, I think I might misread it, because you still got to understand it. Even when I'm putting something together, I'm like, I got to read this thing, and I still don't understand it. So what I did when I was raising my children, this is a slight sidebar, but it's still about a good man. Mm-hmm. I prayed and asked God, please, God, don't let me screw these children up too bad. I know they're not going to be quite perfect, but let me not screw them up where they can't correct any mistakes I made. And see, this is what we're getting ready to talk about, the impact parents have on your idea of a good man.
Well, the thing is, I have a different perspective in general about it. I think that the things that you guys have talked about are good qualities. And I know Amber had said about people being lost, and kind of going away from God and stuff like that. I think to piggyback on that and to piggyback on what you have said, I think that, you had mentioned about parenting. There's a lot of outside influences, and I think a lot of stuff that the Bible teaches about compassion, about, wanting to serve and serve not only God, but your family, your wife. A lot of that is looked at as very feminine, very, very, weak. And we have all these external forces telling men what a man is to be. A man is to be, very, very much, just bring in the money. That's it. Anything that deals with the house or whatever, that's the woman's job. To be, it is unpopular to be monogamous. You want to run the women. You want to be the man with the women.
Or it could be, I've heard people say, even in church, you know how men are. We've given men excuses to cheat. He's just being a man. Let a man be a man. I say be human. I say be a person of integrity. I say if you're going to want to be a man of God. If you like, that's the best man you should be. Be a man of God. And if you're a man of God, you will automatically be a man of integrity.
And that's what I'm saying. I think that when you say be a man of God, both you and Amber keep saying this, I don't think that that is an unpopular, an unpopular stance that men want to take, because it's seen as being weak, or you letting your woman do that to you. Oh, you going you running home to go to your family. I wouldn't let my woman run me like that.
Yeah, you should stay out here and have another drink with me and the boys, or come on to the strip club. Man, I don't have enough money. We got a budget, and then he goes and blow the budget at the strip club because he didn't want his friends to think that his wife is running things, which he might be. Statistics have proven women holds the family budget 85 to 95% of the time, which is good for men, because honey, trying to keep up with a budget is tough, and keeping focused on what's the goal. If you want to buy a house, if you want to buy a car, you're going to have to be on a budget, and you're going to have to stay within that budget. And if you are not the one that's strong enough to do that, you and your wife discuss this and you make a decision who's going to do it. But we all do it. Just because she is the main one looking at the budget doesn't mean she's handling that, it's okay, and you just giving your money. No, we're gonna discuss this. You should. Both, two heads are better than one. That's why God in the Genesis also said it's not good for man to be alone. That means God told you right then and there, two heads are better than one. And the two become one. See, now you got 4 eyes, 2 noses, one lip, and 4 ears to hear. And I always tell people when it comes to raising children too, those 4 eyes on those children, it can make a major difference in your child not being molested, not dropping out of school, not becoming drug addicts, all those things. Because if we got so many single mothers, especially in the black community, when the mother is trying to pay the bills, she's wearing all these hats. She almost go crazy trying to do everything herself. But if she had a husband to help her, the loads get lighter because an extra eyes is on it. She don't have to stretch her eyes so much, or stretch her eyes to listen, her ears to listen in, to make sure the kid is in the room doing the right thing. He can stretch his ears a little bit while her ears rest and watch some TV or something. But back to a good man. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say, and that brings it back to what I said, having a man that has the same vision for the family. Because a man that has the same vision for the family wouldn't think that his wife is running him. In fact, they have a goal. They're trying to, either it's a family vacation or getting a house. So that's what's important. But I really want to get back to your point about how your parents have influenced your thought of a good man.
Okay. For me, and maybe that'll be the question we'll do a round robin on. For me, my mom and dad got a divorce when I was young. And so my stepdad kind of raised me. And I didn't see him as a good man. Children have their own thoughts. And I think I was a precocious child. I didn't see him as a bad man. he's probably like most men, just an ordinary man, not doing good but not doing bad. He was not a bad man. He didn't beat up on us, molest us or anything like that. But he didn't show me that he really loved me as a child. And my father, even though my mom and dad got a divorce, my stepfather was more of a decent man than my father. My father was not even a decent man. But see, like you said, other things impact. Now, like my husband, I've been married 36 years to my husband. And I would say my husband is a good man. He has his issues, like I have my issues. We're not perfect. We're only human. But the point is, when you care about more than just yourself again, and you contribute to the family more than just your paycheck, and the fact that you show up at night just before you go to bed and time enough to have some sex and go to sleep. You're going to need more than that and bring a paycheck. You're going to need more than that. And so that's how when I saw, and children be thinking about this, because I'm going back into my childhood head, and I already judged my father and I judged my stepfather, and they both came up wanting, and I would not classify either one of them as a good man. My father, bad man. My stepfather, he was a okay man. He was neither bad or good.
What about you, Amber?
For me, in my childhood, my parents did divorce early, but I still tried to keep a good relationship with my dad. Then when my stepdad came into play, for me, it kind of added to it. It took adjustment, but I feel like I have a different type of personality to where I wanted to make sure each one of them had a special spot, but wasn't replacing the other one. So I made an effort to be open and to communicate, so that way it was easier to be able to build my own relationship with each one of them, which in return made it easier for them to get along together and for us to be able to bond. So I was able to take away good traits from my stepdad and from my good dad, so I feel like I have a well-rounded outlook and perspective of what I want in a man. I'm able to take different personalities, see how you can kind of work through different situations, kind of have more than one opinion and know how two different men will handle it, but it is two completely different people can come together to, in the end, have the same end result in what's is expected of a man or what you should look for in a man. And so it helped kind of guide my decisions and opinion of a man, and even in letting my daughter know good things to be able to look for in her getting older and dating and things like that.
Now, how do you know when you had said that, you did the score, right, and it came up 0 for both? How did you know your husband?
0 for both. I said my stepfather was a better man than my dad. My dad, 0. My stepfather, it depends on what kind of scale. We use a 1 to 5 scale. I would put him at a 3.
Okay, so you said though when your husband though is a good man, mm-hmm, how were you able to identify that then? Since you were coming from 2 examples that were poor.
When I decided to do this podcast on a good man, and I did it based on a conversation I overheard from my niece, and she was saying, I don't know what a good man is. Maybe the man I'm dating is a good man, but I just don't know it because my father was not a good man. I don't know what is a good man. And I told her, I said, your father is not the only influence in your life. You have the social media. Before social media, we had TV, we had school, we had our church, we have our friends, our neighbors. Your family, kids generally want to blame their parents for everything, and so I don't blame my parents. I I'm a great person. I know that about me. And I'm not being arrogant to say this. I'm just giving myself the credit. And I don't give the credit to my family. I give the credit to other influences in my life. That, for one thing, I've always loved God. That's the number one reason why I feel I turned out to be a good person. And so that's what you have to stop playing the blame game. This is really what I want to say about a good man. What a good man is. If you don't know what a good man, you need to ask somebody. That's what I told her. You could ask me, what is a good man? You can ask Google what is a good man. You can ask YouTube what is a good man. You can ask your friends on Facebook what is a good man.
How about go to the Bible?
That's the best thing. To go to the Bible about what is a good man. Now, one thing I want to talk about. Not this session, but another session I may have, talk about Boaz. Now, the Bible talk about Ruth and this guy named Boaz, how, when he was interested in her, he would leave provisions for Ruth so she could pick it up. He was giving her stuff before he even asked for a date or before she even knew he was interested in her. Because he was a good man. He was doing that to help her as a person in the community that had a need, and he could provide some little extra without hurting himself. See, that's about giving to the community, making donations, because he's a good man. He was a godly man. As I was saying about Boaz being a good man, if you want to know what a good man is, there's so many other examples in the Bible of a good man. But Boaz is a perfect example of what I was saying, that where it says charity begins at home and spread abroad. He spread it out into the community, his goodness, his fortune, his generosity. And I love to say Boaz, Boaz. Now, in this world, we got a lot of AZs, ass. I'm saying AZ people, and it's pronounced ass. So when you hear me say, don't get a crazy ass, AZ. Don't get a man that's going to beat your ass. Don't get a man that's a lazy ass. Any more asses around here we need to be aware of? Dumb. Don't get a dumb ass. But you need to be sure to get a bow ass.
Okay, that's real good. I like that. The asses.
Yes.
Okay, not to be confused with the A word.
Right.
Okay, so, where you had mentioned that you can ask Google, how are these things, you have people that are in different walks of their life, in different relationship with God, and you had said to look to Google. You can Google what's a good man. You can Google, if you're not so strong in your walk in your faith, and you may not be what is it called, a Bible thumper, or you're not a scripture reader like that. Where else could you, or how could you find out about what's a good man?
The Bible, you don't have to be one to read the scripture. Go to YouTube and type in a good man under the preaching of T.D. Jakes. I'm sure he talks about a good man.
Because you got scripture warriors out there.
Because they're biblical. The Bible is your best source, your most reliable source of what a good man is. We're not talking about no new age stuff. We're talking based. I told people from the beginning, my transparency, real talk from a biblical perspective. And if you don't agree with me about what I'm saying about the Bible, I'm not really talking to you. You're going to have someone else to talk to you. I'm talking to those that believe in the Bible and in God. Now, I know we only have 2 minutes, so I'm going to wrap this up by saying 2 more things. I want to ask all my male listeners to leave a comment and tell me, are you a good man? And if any other scriptures anybody out there want to use about a good man that could be helpful to people who are really trying to figure it out, what is a good man, hit us up. And how should they hit us up, Alex?
So what you can do is that you can hit us up on social media. You can hit us up on Instagram at I Am the Marrying Kind. Or you can follow us or hit us up on Facebook at I Am the Marrying Kind. But before we close out, I just want to make sure that we have. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to be sure to ask the audience. I'm going to ask, and we don't frequently ask you guys to do things. So but I do want you to leave a comment because this is good. A lot of women are asking out there, what is a good man? And I want to say this too. The thing that makes up a good man also makes up a good woman. You see how that goes? The same answer for a good woman, like men can say, how about the women? What does the Lord require of me? Under Michael 8 and around about 1, it says, to do justice, to love mercy, and to walk humbly before my God. God doesn't require something separate for men than he do women. Because he said, let us make man in our own image. So here's the question again. For anybody, do you know any good men, girls? Men, do you know any good men? Were you raised by a good man? Were you mentored by a good man? And are you a good man?
Any last comments, Amber, since you listened to the podcast and you're our special guest for today?
No comments. I enjoyed being a part of it and getting different insights, and I enjoy listening, and I look forward to learning a lot more and reading all those comments you all have to share.
And we love having you. That's going to be it for Rhea Talk for Real People, where we're always keeping it real in regards to love, families, and relationships with the biblical perspective. Please follow us on Instagram at I Am The Marian Kind or our Facebook page, The Marian Kind Inc. And we want to see those comments, guys. Are you a good man? Are you a good woman? Make sure you hit us up. And until next time, we'll see you next week.